Peyton Kerr. Rebounded by the Warriors. It's Burlage. Burlage pretty much led this team in all stat categories last season as they kick it out. Three-pointer from Farmer, and she knocks it down. And Kiara Burlage, a Montana product, actually, out of Columbia Falls.
Columbia Falls, yep. That's the only Montana girl on their roster.
Skylight basketball inside Hovde. She kicks it out. Three-pointer up. That's no good. Rebounded by Hovde, though. Offensive rebound. She kicks it back out. It's Goldhahn with it now. Goldhahn passes it off. Gunter back to Goldhahn. Near side. Passes it across. Here's a drive, kick, three-pointer up from Goldhahn, and that one's off the front rim, no good. Rebounded by Johnson. Johnson playing the 5, but leading the transition for the Warriors. Passes it back to Burlage. Burlage out to Farmer. Farmer looking for the pass. It's stolen by the Skylights. Kerr on the break, off the glass, and that one's good. Peyton Kerr. 3 players out there from Columbia Falls right now. Burlage from LC, and of course Peyton and Riley Kerr both from
Well, Columbia Falls has got a reputation, Daniel, for putting out a lot of really good basketball players. I mean, they've been in so many state Class H state championships over the years.
The hidden gem up in the valley,
yep.
I would say. A couple substitutions in for each team. Northern in the lead, still 10-9, 3:59 left here in the first quarter. Souvenir inbounds. And now with it for LC State is Rachel Schroeder, a sophomore guard out of Post Falls, Idaho. Inside they go. It's Heidi Selman. Back out to Souvenir. Souvenir across the court. Here's a drive from Farmer. Farmer off the glass. And I tell you what, Coach, Abby Farmer looks great in this early game.
Yeah, she's got a lot of experience. Inside, outside player. That time with her finishing with her left hand.
And we kind of saw her in a 6-man role last year as a combo guard off the bench, and now she's taken that next step. Skylights move it around. Here's a three-pointer up, and that one is no good from Morgan Mason. But an offensive rebound by Sydney Hovde. Back to Mason.
Another rebound by Hovde. Offensive board. She's a force in there.
She's cleaning up the glass today. And a travel called. They'll get Latia Lawrence for that. She's a freshman guard out of Harlem, Montana. Tell you look up and down this Northern roster, they check a lot of boxes for Montana cities. They do, like to recruit in state.
They do.
You got Columbia Falls, Browning, Freud, a couple of Columbia Falls actually. Sydney Hovde also from Columbia Falls. Scobie, Browning, Glendive, I mean, you name it. They check all the boxes. Edmiston taking the ball up the court for LC State. To the corner she goes, three-pointer up, and that one is good. It's Rachel Schroeder knocking it down, and just like that, LC State, slow start, but now they take a 4-point lead here. 2:43 left on the clock here in the first quarter.
Well, they just keep firing those threes, and they just have tremendous confidence in that perimeter game.
Not much of a coincidence that they're the Warriors.
Yeah.
Much like that of Golden State. As the Skylights go inside, little turnaround up, and that one is good from Cameron Mooney, junior out of Salt Lake, by way of Salt Lake City Community College. 14-12, LC State still leading by 2, and it's a turnover by the Warriors as they stepped out of bounds. Schroeder got the ball in the corner, took that slight step back, caught the purple line, and the ref saw it, so ball will be going other way, staying with the Skylights. Taking the ball up. Latia Lawrence picks up her dribble and she kicks it out. Riley Kerr outside with it, back to Lawrence. Inside they go. It's Mooney. Mooney looking for a backdoor pass, but it's stolen again by the Warriors. Here's Kiara Burlage on the break. She drives, kicks, three-pointer up, and that's no good by Schroeder. Rebounded though by Edmiston. She takes a pull-up jumper from the baseline, gets the roll, and it's good.
Nice play by Edmiston. That was a very nice play.
And they must really preach offensive rebounding because they've been very impressed at what Northern's shown, or excuse me, what LC has shown on the offensive glass.
Well, look at how long they are. I mean, they're not just tall girls. They always have long, athletic girls, and bunches of them.
Basket good by Riley Kerr as the Warriors get it back down to the other end. Inside they go. It's Burlage. Burlage on the block, kicks it around. Farmer to Edmiston for three, and that one's good. And the threes, they're starting to fall for LC
Yeah,
State.
I just don't know if you can zone them. Chris is trying to zone them, and I don't know if you can. They just shoot it too well.
It's Lawrence with it on the other end. Pull-up jumper from the elbow, and she knocks it down. So Northern hitting their shots. So a lot of up-tempo, a lot of made shots back and forth here in this first quarter. It's 19-16. Pretty decently high-scoring half so far. Burlage drives, gets fouled at the rim, and that'll send Kiara Burlage to the line to shoot two.
Tia Lawrence, Latia Lawrence, a freshman guard from Harlem High School, and I had heard about her, and it's nice to see her get in a ball game and get some success early.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, first game of the year for both these teams. So, when you see a freshman out there, first game of the season, getting minutes, it's a good sign. Means they've probably had a pretty impressive camp up to this point. First free throw's up, and that one's good for Burlage. She'll shoot one more, like we mentioned, Kiara Burlage, senior forward, 6 feet tall, out of Columbia Falls, Montana.
That was the first foul called this quarter.
I thought it was moving by fast.
The first foul called this quarter with 44 seconds left to go.
Some clean basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of outside shooting, not a lot of bumping inside.
Mowat's teams are known for not fouling. I mean, they really are.
Hovde inside off the backdoor pass. Her shot is blocked and stolen by the Warriors. Now 26 on the shot clock, 28 on the game clock. Couple second differential there for the Warriors. They can take their pick of their options here to end out this first quarter. Inside they go, and losing the ball is Heidi Salmon. That'll be a turnover, so that'll give the ball to the Skylights with 15 seconds left. I would imagine here, Gary, they're going to play for the last shot.
Yeah. Yep.
And, of course, classic roll the ball in. Don't waste too much time. 10 seconds now on the clock as the Skylights swing it around. With it now is Mooney. Back up to the top. They set up Lawrence for three from the corner, and they'll get a moving screen before the shot. So, with 2.8 seconds left, now LC will get the last shot.
I like the looks of that freshman from Harlem, Latia Lawrence.
She moves well away from the ball.
Yeah, and that was a really pretty shot that she just took. I think we might have a player there.
I think that's someone we should get used to in the Frontier Conference.
Yeah.
Long pass to half court, hits off a couple players. Edmiston tries to chuck one up, and it's going to run out of time. So your score at the end of one, LC State 21, MSU Northern, the Skylights 16. We're going to step aside briefly, but we'll be back for second quarter action here just in a minute. Daniel Sally back here with Coach Gary Turcotte. 21-16, LC State in the lead after one quarter. And just harping back on your point, Coach Turcotte, one total foul by both teams in the first quarter. Very impressive.
Well, it's just amazing. Both teams just playing solid defense and not doing much hacking and fouling. We'll see how long that lasts.
Skylights will start with the ball for the second quarter. A three-pointer up there from Lawrence. No good. Rebounded by LC State. And surprise to nobody, they're off and running in transition here. It's Johnson with it. Spin move up and in. Nice move there by Abby Johnson.
I think that's a little bit quicker than Chris Moe wants to take shots against this LC State team. They just play such up-tempo. I think you have to run some offense. And here they turned it over after one pass.
Another nice steal there by the LC State defense. They've forced 8 turnovers now in this ball game. Very impressive early on. Johnson inside, shot up, no good. That was Alexis Sikora, a junior out of Joseph, Oregon, who we saw a lot last season as well. Skylights basketball as it's Kerr with it on the near side. Excuse me, that's Gunter with the ball. Nice ball movement by the Skylights as they're looking for their shot. Shot clock down to about 10 seconds. Here's a drive. Gunter with the runner. Can't get the roll, though. It's rebounded by Sikora. Outlet pass. And Farmer will push in transition for the Warriors. Farmer far side. Back to the top. Now Johnson with it. Johnson takes her dribble, kicks. Pump fake, here's a drive, little Euro step. Nice defense though by Mooney as she blocks the shot and gets it back for the Skylights.
Mooney from Salt Lake Community College, 6'2", junior college transfer.
Protecting the rim a little bit
for
the Skylights. This is a driving kick three-pointer from Lawrence, and there she is again.
Yeah.
The freshman from Harlem, Montana, dazzling in her college debut.
She's going to be a force.
Cross-court pass by the Warriors. Three-pointer up, this time Schroeder off the rim, no good, rebounded by Hovde.
Now Hovde's going to set a world record for rebounds here.
Off to a good start.
Be interesting to see how many she has at the halftime.
Yeah, she's already got 6.
Yeah.
Mooney kicks it out, three-pointer Gunter, and that one is good. So Northern saying not so fast as a nice little 6-2 run here to open up the quarter. Three-pointer on the other end, that's Schroeder. Off the rim, no good. Rebounded by the Skylights. And a timeout called by Chris Moe. Just a 30-second timeout, so we can go ahead and keep it right here, Coach. But just back on it, Latia Lawrence in her debut, another shot. She's off to a nice little start here. She's got 5 points, 50% from 3, 2 or 3 from the field. Can't complain, huh?
One thing I see with Northern's, and they're playing mostly against LC's zone now. LC's kind of mixing it up and playing sometimes man-to-man, but Northern wants to go inside to their bigs and then kick it outside for the 3, but the bigs have got to establish themselves a little bit more as a threat inside, or Northern won't, or LC State won't help off them. If you just catch it and throw it back out, then nobody's had to move. So it'll be interesting to see what adjustment both teams make if the Northern bigs don't establish themselves a little bit more offensively.
Back from the timeout, taking the ball up, it will be Mackenzie Gunter. Three-pointer up, and that one's no good from Lawrence. Tipped around, rebounded by the Warriors.
That's just a little quicker, I know, than Chris wants that shot taken.
Souvenir down to the other end, and yeah.
Latia is not bashful.
No, and they, I think Northern's known more for slightly methodical offense
compared
to a running gun.
They are.
So they like to take their time and find their shot. Three-pointer up on the other end, and that one is good. Knocked down by Jansen Edmiston, the senior out of Hermiston, Oregon. For anyone just tuning in, Daniel Sally here with Coach Gary Turcotte, and they call this week Feast Week, as all the preseason basketball tournaments around Thanksgiving. We're lucky to have one of our own here at the PE Center in our own little bubble on the campus of Carroll College, of course. Skylights push it around. It's Hovde now on the elbow. Shot clock down to 10. She drives up the side of the key, off the glass, no good. Rebounded, it's Abby Johnson. The Warriors with the ball, here's a drive. Johnson's floater up, and that one is good.
That is a tough shot.
Looking the ball up the floor. Mackenzie Gunter, now Hovde on the elbow, and another steal by Abby Johnson. And her length in the middle of that defense is just very tough to get around, as a mid-range jumper from Schroeder is no good on the other end. Good ball movement by the Skylights in transition as they'll slow it down now. Hovde inside, Gunter. Three-pointer up now, and that one is knocked down. Nice shot there from Alex Goldhahn.
That's, I think, her third 3.
I believe so, yeah. Nice shooter. I mean, we saw a lot of her last season as well.
Yes, left-handed set shooter.
And I love left-handed jump shots. You don't see them too often, but when the good ones come around, it's hard to beat. Here's a drive, Peyton Souvenir, and it's blocked by Gunter. Souvenir going for the rebound. She runs into Goldhahn, and they'll get a foul on Souvenir for that, as Goldhahn was waiting for the ball. And got a shoulder to the chest. Can't feel too good. You know?
Well, we've had 2 fouls called in this game.
Yeah, 1 per quarter.
Yeah.
Not a bad pace.
Which is kind of fun. It's kind of fun to watch. Not many stoppages. And, you know, you get tired when you're a player and the clock doesn't stop. It's just up and down.
And
you got to sub a
especially
little
with
more.
2 teams playing their first game of the season, it's even more impressive
Yeah.
for both these teams to be playing so smooth and so clean. Gunter running the point. Hovde now up top. And now I'm really paying close attention to the shot clock on these Northern drives to see if they make it under 10 seconds before they shoot. As they swing it around. Gunter, far wing, inside Hovde on the elbow. 5 seconds on the shot clock now. Long 2 up, and that one's no good. On the shot that time was Peyton Kerr. She gets it to the corner. Drive from Gunter, dumps it off to Hovde. Outside 3-pointer from Goldhahn, and that one is good. Alex Goldhahn putting on a Black Friday shooting clinic. How
An
about that?
impressive offensive rebound by Northern. They got 2 extra shots there and got a nice inside-outside off that rebound.
Both teams doing an outstanding job on the offensive glass. Burlage gets it inside, goes up with it off the glass, and good for 2 for the Warriors.
Nice little left shoulder jump hook.
Very impressive. With it near side, it's Goldhahn. 3-pointer up from the corner, and that one is knocked down. Peyton Kerr. A lot of offensive rebounds today and a lot of 3-pointers. Drive, quick runner, and Edmiston knocks it down. So now both teams running up and down the court a little bit, getting their shots up. A very impressively smooth game so far. I keep harping back on it, but it's very noticeable. Both these teams doing an outstanding job to open their season as they swing it around. And 2 good coaches, I might add, as they go inside to Hovde, elbow, kicks it out, 3-pointer, Goldhahn, and it's good.
Another one.
I think that's 5, but I'm gonna have to recount.
It's at least 4, but I think it's 5.
Let's take a look here as I get these refreshed. These live stats a little behind right now. Yeah, no, it's not updated yet. But
Okay.
if I were counting just on my own with nothing to base it off of, 5 is the number I have in my head. Here's a jumper up, and that one's no good, or excuse me, no good from Burlage. Rebounded by Johnson. Her putback is good. Count the basket.
Now that is a nifty out-of-bounds play that Coach Brian Orr ran there against the zone. That's one that I'd like to see in slow motion and save that one. That was very well done.
I wish we had the monitor for you to draw on with the digital marker like they have on television as Johnson's free throws up and good. And Abby Johnson's, I mean, senior at LC State. We've seen a lot of her in the last few years, played on some very good LC State teams, a very, very good player for the Warriors.
God, she's been there a while. It just seems like
And a steal on the other end by Souvenir, but it looks like she'll step out of bounds. So another whistle, but not another foul. As we're still at 3 total team fouls. A couple free throws attempted by each team. Excuse me, just 2 by LC State, a couple and ones. Inside, Hovde, turnaround, and that one's up and good.
with her left hand.
And we just continue to trade leads here in the PE Center as Northern takes the lead back 36-35. They're in the driver's seat. Burlage drives, puts it off the glass, and one. Kiera Burlage. It seems like every time down the court, these teams are scoring.
Another freshman, Dulcie Skunkcap from Browning, in the ball game, who got that foul right there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another one I had heard about. Fun to see her get out there and get a chance to play.
So nice little mix of old and new on this Northern team. Gunter down the other end. She drives, puts it up off the glass, no good. Rebound by the Warriors. Under 3 minutes now on the clock here in the second quarter. Turnaround, and that one is good. Hannah Broyles, a sophomore guard out of Moscow, Idaho.
Nice play.
By way of Treasure Valley CC, so a new face for Brian Orr and this Warriors basketball team. 39-36, Warriors in the lead. Once again, a happy Thanksgiving to all of you tuning in as a drive from Kerr is up off the glass and no good. Johnson's rebound outlet pass to Souvenir. She puts it up on the other end. A floater, no good. And it's rebounded by the Skylights. Gunter pushing the other way once again. 2:18 left in the second quarter. Gunter takes the three, and that's no good.
And she kind of forced that one. That's the first really kind of forced shot she's taken, and of course she didn't make it.
Burlage, far side. He enters into the key with it, gives it to Johnson. Johnson fouled and will go to the line and shoot two as we slow things down a little bit here. Catch my breath after all this up-tempo basketball. We're seeing 1:59 left in the first half, 39-36 the Warriors lead. And Coach, this has really been a back and forth affair by both these teams.
Well, this is the most up-tempo I've seen one of Chris Mowat's teams play in several years. And it's fun to watch. And I can see as he looks out there at his talent, he's a little more talented, a little more athletic than he's been, a little deeper than he's been. So he's going to let him play a little bit more this year.
Johnson's first free throw is good. And I think it's normal to see early in a basketball season where you have a coach who's maybe more willing to go deeper into rotations to see what he's got before you get into conference play and have to tighten things down.
Exactly. These girls have been through a lot. The whole country's been through a lot, but these girls basketball players, and they need to get out and play.
Skylights with the basketball. Lawrence has it. Especially teams with not a lot of practices,
Exactly.
Sometimes you haven't seen a lot, so might as well throw them in the game as Hovde goes up, gets her own rebound, puts it back in for two, and Northern cuts it back to a 2-point lead in favor of the Warriors.
Now, Hovde's had a nice half. She's going to be a double-digit rebounder in this ball game. Smart player, pretty good passer.
Entry pass, looking for Johnson. It's tipped away and stolen by the Skylights as they continue to push. Gunter takes it out, closing in on a minute left here in the first half. A very quick first half here from the PE Center. It's only been about 32 minutes since the game tipped off. Lawrence, guarded by Souvenir on the outside. The Skylights swinging around. 5 or 6 on the shot clock, It's Peyton Kerr with it. She goes to Gunter. Gunter's shot blocked, and it's tipped around out of bounds. Shot clock violation. LC State will get it back with a 2-point lead and 44 seconds left here in the first half.
Peyton Kerr there had an inside-outside opportunity to get her shot, and she turned it down. And that's one thing that Coach will be helping her understand. You need to take those shots. Those inside-outside shots are the best ones in basketball, especially when the shot clock's running down.
Fun to watch that ball movement.
Yeah, they do move the ball well, very well.
40 seconds left now. Edmiston taking it up the court. She goes to Farmer. Farmer, corner. Inside Burlage. Nice little hezzy. Put it up off the glass and good for two.
Yeah.
Little fake out with his movement ever so slightly. As we got 24 seconds left on the shot clock, just 23 on the game clock. Well, as it keeps moving, there's about a half a second difference. So Northern can play for the last shot here with no problem. Gunter taking your time.
And Chris will have a nice set right here.
Gunter off the high screen. Little step back jumper in the lane, no good. Rebounded by Farmer with 1 second on the clock. She puts it up and no good. A little contact there, but no foul called. They're just going to take it into the half. 42-38, LC State leads. And Coach Turcotte, let's go ahead and take a quick step away. But once we get those stats in front of us, we'll go ahead and come back in a few minutes, talk a little halftime action, and maybe look ahead at the later game between Carroll and Valley City State. So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back here in a couple minutes. All right, Daniel Sally back here with Coach Gary Turcotte at halftime here in Game 1 of this little Carroll Thanksgiving round robin tournament we got going on. It's just a beautiful thing that we're able to pull this off with everything going on. But here we are, Daniel Sally joined by Coach Turcotte as always. 42-38, LC State in the lead over MSU Northern. And as we look at the stats here, leading all scorers, Jansen Edmiston. She did this a lot in games against the Saints last year. 13 points, kind of sneaky, but she's a very good player. 3 for 3 from the three-point line, 5 of 6 from the field. And leading scorer for MSU Northern, of course, with 12, Alex Goldhahn. So we were off by 1. We thought maybe she had 5 threes.
Yep.
She's got 4.
Yep.
So very impressive showing from both teams. Pretty high scoring first half. Both teams on pace to score around 80 points. And like we mentioned, only I think a total of 5 or 6 fouls in the first half with only 1 in the first quarter. So for Coach Chris Moat of MSU Northern and Coach Brian Orr of LC State, got to be pretty happy for this being the first game of the season. A pretty smooth first half by both sides.
It really was. Just looking at the team stats, Daniel, just one of the things that always jump out at me, or sometimes they're a little different, but LC State had 1 personal foul in 20 minutes of basketball. 1. Northern, of course, did not shoot a free throw, but 1
Amazing.
personal foul. I don't know how many basketball games you're going to go to that a team only has 1 personal foul and a half. Excellent shooting from the three-point line by both teams. LC State 6 for 13, Northern 8 for 17. Both teams playing a lot of zone, which you're going to give up more threes when you play zone. But for first game of the year for both teams, that's really good shooting. I think the thing that hurt Northern the most, Daniel, was their turnovers.
Yeah.
Because they turned it over 10 times, but the bad thing about it is their bigs can't get back, and then their guards have got to come out and help on the end. Or have got to step back and help inside, and then they give up the threes in transition. So I would bet that Coach Moet harps on that. It's a zone. You shouldn't turn the ball over against a zone that much, and they did turn it over unnecessarily. And then LC State, I think they're vulnerable inside. I think Northern could go inside more, and I know they're shooting the ball well from the 3, but they do play behind the post. And I think Northern needs to go inside more, but it's hard to say that when you shoot 8 for 17 from the 3. It's hard to say, let's quit shooting those threes, let's go inside. So interesting half of basketball, fun to watch.
And I want to go back on one thing you said with MSU Northern and the turnovers in that zone. And traditionally, you're right. When you're playing against a zone defense, you're going to turn the ball over less. But this LC State zone is not a normal zone just because of the amount of length that we see from them. We saw it last year, that second game of conference play for Carroll here at the PE Center last year, where it was a very ugly game for Carroll because they kept dribbling right into that length of LC State and turning the ball over. I think they do a really good job for being in a zone at forcing those turnovers.
Well, you're absolutely right. They do. They're long. And they play the passing lanes. A lot of times they won't defend the ball.
They anticipate.
So the girl defending the ball a lot of times will not square it up, but she'll kind of play to the side and then try to influence you to pass it to that side, and then there's somebody in the passing lanes. It's a little different philosophy that Coach Orr has. It's been effective for him for a long time. He's been there many years, and he's played that zone, and it's been a winner for him.
I'd say it's very similar when you look out on a football field when defenses bait their coverage into quarterbacks throwing interceptions. It's very similar to what LC State does. Saw it last week with the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, you see it every Sunday in the NFL. But nice to draw a comparison between two sports, two things that I love very much. But very impressive job, like we said, by both teams. Just looking ahead real quick at the second game today between Valley City State and Carroll. Both teams have played some ball games this year. Valley City, coached by Vanessa Johnson. I believe it's her 4th season as a head coach there. They're 1-1 on the year. Carroll, of course, 3-0, coming off that big 92-57 win over Dickinson State last week. Christine Denny, the senior, the leading scorer with 15. And this Carroll team that we've seen over the first couple games, Coach T, I mean, they're just very, very talented and very, very deep.
They are talented and they are deep. it's been a challenge for them. I'm sure every NAI school, every basketball school in the country, lots of missed practices. You know, the COVID has been a real challenge, but when they are able to practice, they do get better. They're going to be completely outsized tonight. It's going to be a massive size differential. You don't see that very often. NAI basketball, that a team has got, they go 6'5", 6'4", 6'3" at the post.
Unbelievable.
And the 6'5" girl started out at North Dakota State University, and she is a senior.
Down, yeah.
And she's a drop down, so you know that she's got to be pretty decent. And so a great challenge for Carroll, who will be outsized tonight. But this is a talented Carroll team, no question about it. Their guards are good, their bigs are good, they're experienced, they're athletic. You know, we're looking for big things out of them this year.
And it's funny you say that this Carroll team's going to be outsized, because if that's a sentence I would have heard probably 2 or 3 years ago, I would have laughed, because you look at how this team looked just a couple seasons ago. When Christine was a freshman, Christine Denny, she ran the point, and now she's playing basically power forward.
Yep.
But when you have girls like Hannah Dean, Michaela Dowdy, Cassie Hashley, all these girls on the same team, Carroll used to be the team that would throw out the big lineup.
Yeah.
And now Coach Sayers has had to transition into sort of a 4-out offense. Now, of course, they have Jamie Pickens to throw to the middle of that. But it's funny how the times have sort of shifted with how Carroll has played.
Yeah, and just, you know, Carroll has so many talented guards. And Christine really can play anywhere on the basketball court.
Swiss Army knife.
She is. She can play anywhere, but at the 4, she is a mismatch for anybody. It's hard to put a big on her because she can bounce it and get to the rim.
She's not afraid of anything.
And she can post up if you put a small on her. You know, should be a candidate for MVP of the league when it's all said and done. She's just a big-time talent.
Totally agree. Well, as both teams start to make their way out, as we're about 4 minutes away from the second half. I mean, starting with LC State, since they're out here first, if you're Coach Orr, I mean, what's one thing you're really focusing on adjusting going into the second half for LC?
Well, I think you got to find Peyton Kerr in your zone.
Yeah.
She hit 4 threes on you, so that's the big thing. I think they got to tighten up a little bit their inside defense. I think they are vulnerable, even though Northern didn't really go inside that much. And then they just want to keep playing their tempo of basketball. Keep running and gunning.
Stay loose.
Stay loose. That's how he coaches. That's how they play.
And if you're MSU Northern, I mean, we know Coach Moat does a really good job with that team, and they're always a tough opponent for just about anyone. But you go into the half down 4. You're shooting a pretty good clip from 3 at the half, as they're 8 of 17, 47%. I think for Northern, you know, you want to tune up the turnovers, but stick to the game plan that you had in the first half, because it appears to be working for them.
Right, the inside-outside shooting has been great. They've gotten high percentage threes when they go inside-outside. When they've gotten into trouble is when they've turned it over, or when they come down and shoot off the first pass. That's when LC has gone on runs, when they've done those 2 things. They come down and make one pass and somebody shoots it. And then right away LC's back, run the ball down your throat, or you turn it over. Those 2 things, be interesting to see if they're able to shore those up.
Well, Coach T, let's go ahead and take one more break for the next about 2.5 minutes. When we come back, we'll go ahead and get ready for second half of game 1 of today's doubleheader here in the Carroll bubble, as LC State leads at the half, 42-38. Second half action here from the PE Center as we're in our little Carroll bubble here, a little Thanksgiving Day round robin tournament. First game of the first day, LC State versus MSU Northern. The Skylights trailing 42-38 to the Warriors. They bring back in Coach Turcotte. Coach Turcotte, we'll just go ahead and get right into it. A pretty tragic week for Montana basketball fans.
An untimely loss of Ken Maddox, who was an assistant coach for the Great Falls High Bison. He was relatively young at 69, died of COVID complications, and he was a very impactful teacher, a coach. He had coached both genders, men and women, at Great Falls High. A good, really good basketball person, a good teacher, and just a real loss for the community of Great Falls and beyond.
Our thoughts are with the family of Ken Maddox and anyone who's been affected by that loss as we get into the second half here at the PE Center. The miss on the other end for LC State. Northern has the ball now. With it is Peyton Kerr. And an offensive foul called on MSU Northern, so a quick turnover to start the half for the Skylights.
They like that illegal screen call. Remember last week how many of those we saw? That's a point of emphasis. They're not going to let you screen and move. If you're going to set a screen, you got to stay still.
It's those preseason officials meetings after the off season where they take all the time to watch the tape.
Yeah.
That must have been what they noticed.
Point of emphasis.
Warriors ball as Burlage drives in, picks up her dribble, loses control, and another turnover as we're having some sort of complication with the clock. Not really sure what's going on there, but we can stay here and talk. I know it's 42-38. The score hasn't changed yet.
Yeah, so Northern came out man-to-man to start the half, so that's a little different adjustment. They started the game in a zone and right away caused a turnover. And it was an aggressive man. It was they were out pushing, contesting.
They play a physical brand of defense.
They do,
and they're not cheap. It's not. No, it's not chippy at all. But
that has been for Chris Moe. That over the years, that has been his basic defense is man to man. Nothing very fancy about it. Solid, good spacing. They go under on-ball screens. And they do it well. I think they're still having trouble with the clock, Daniel.
Looks like they're replugging in some things here. But, something had to make up for the time. It was such a quick first half.
Yeah. And the referees are over huddled with the scoreboard. And I don't know if it's the shot clock. I think it is the shot clock that they're having trouble with.
Must be. Well, it sounds like we got a pretty decent viewership today, so special thanks and happy Thanksgiving to everyone tuned in today. We really appreciate it. I know we're happy to be in here with no fans of the PE Center. We're happy to be the ones in here telling the story for those watching from afar, so I'm just glad we got basketball.
Well, it is great. Yeah.
Very beautiful day here in Helena. It was very sunny as I drove over. I was like, I think that's a good sign.
You look at these girls, Daniel. They've been practicing. They haven't played a basketball game since in March. They haven't played a game since March. They've been practicing since probably in the springtime and all fall. And they just need to play a game. It's mentally really tough just to practice and not get a chance to play a basketball game.
That adds up quick, that past time. So it's nice for these teams, especially these two teams today playing their first games.
Yep.
And I'm just very excited for a weekend of basketball. We got 4 good teams playing at the PE Center: Carroll, Valley City, MSU Northern, LC State. A couple teams we're familiar with. Maybe one team in Valley City that haven't seen a lot of. A lot of fun to be had here at the PE Center this weekend. I mean, originally there's supposed to be a little more action, but it's been condensed. As we're out of the timeout, Skylights get the ball up the court. Inside they go. Hovde dribble off the glass, and that one's good. Nice move by Sydney Hovde to get the 2. LC State to the other end. Burlage loses it out of bounds. That's a turnover by the Warriors.
And LC trying to run their sideline break on Maids there, and just a little bit too anxious. Tried to force it inside.
8:54 left in the third quarter. Gunter setting up the offense. Looks to the corner. It's turned over as LC State putting an emphasis on where Goldhan's at, denying the ball after those 4 threes in the first half.
Well said. They need to find her.
Peyton Souvenir will take the ball up the court for LC State. Souvenir off the pick from Johnson. She goes inside looking for Johnson. Johnson double team. She finds a hole. Three-pointer up from Edmiston. No good. Tipped out by Souvenir. Pulled down by the Skylights. With the ball now, MSU Northern on the near side. Goldhahn pump fakes, kicks it out. Peyton Kerr, her shot's up, no good. Rebounded Johnson. Johnson up to Farmer in transition. Farmer has to slow it down. She'll go to Souvenir, and Souvenir, we saw her last year as well. She's just the floor general for this LC State team. She does a great job facilitating that ball.
Well, she can shoot it when she puts her mind to it. Great range.
Burlage, near side to Edmiston. Edmiston drives up the far side of the key, puts it up, and that one is blocked by Hovde. Outlet pass, it's Gunter driving. Nice backdoor pass underneath, and one for Alex Goldhahn. The Alex Goldhahn show just continues here in the PE Center. She'll go to the line with a chance to finish off a three-point play.
And a real nice fast break lead there by the point guard, Mackenzie Gunter.
Impressive court vision. Finding that
she did a real
cut.
nice job. Yeah, knowing exactly when to pass that ball to the wing that's cutting to the basket at the right time.
Free throw up, and it's no good. So no three-point play for Goldhahn, but she does have 14 points now on the game. 42-42, it's a tie score here in the PE Center. Warriors with it. Edmiston, far side, throws it across the court. Farmer, corner three, that's no good. Rebounded by Souvenir. Souvenir works back to the top. Entry pass, Burlage posting up. Burlage. Pump fakes, goes up and under, no good, rebounded by the Skylights, and that's a tough break as Hovde got it out to Gunter. Gunter fumbled it out of bounds, and so the ball will stay with with LC State. 7:13 left here in the
Both teams
third.
have picked up their defense, Daniel. Both teams playing man-to-man and getting after each other, extending it.
Very impressive, I might say.
Yeah, well, they
Souvenir.
They played a lot of zone the first half, not so much this half.
Johnson, and a nice look from about 8 feet away from the basket. She knocks it down. Warriors take the lead back after a 4-0 run to start off the half from Northern. How about that? Warriors' first bucket of the second half. Peyton Kerr, far side. They hand it off to Gunter. Gunter to set up the offense for MSU Northern. Gunter off the pick, takes a jumper from the elbow, no good. Rebounded by LC State. A couple different LC State players there in the area. Souvenir kicks Burlage for three, and it's good. Kiara Burlage.
You know, Burlage can go inside or outside. I mean, she's got the three-point game, and she's got a low post game.
Sort of LC's version of Christina, I'd say.
Yeah.
So the Skylights continue to move it around. Far side, Gunter. Cross-court pass, Goldhahn looking for her shot, but she picks up her dribble instead and passes it over to her teammate Kerr. Peyton Kerr drives, pump fake, and it's blocked. With it is Souvenir leading the break. She finds Farmer. Farmer open three from the wing, and she'll take that all day if you give it to her. Abby Farmer knocks it down, and just like that, after a 4-0 Northern run to tie the game, it's an 8-0 LC run to take an 8-point lead.
And that's the turnover. Northern turns it over. LC State busts it down and gets a three.
It's the little things, Coach. It's the little things that happen.
I mean, that's what Coach Moore, he's got to take a timeout now, and he's got to talk to him. You know, we got to get a shot. We got to be patient. And when we do that, then they're not going to beat us down on the break. When we come down and turn it over or we shoot it too quick, then they're going to beat us with their fast break game.
Hate to sound cliche, but they always say it's a game of runs. And here we are.
Yeah.
Well, as we get into this timeout, there's just a couple reminders. Carroll Athletics, proudly sponsored by First Interstate Bank. First Interstate Bank has several branches throughout Helena and over 80 locations across Montana, Wyoming, and South Dakota to serve our customers. First Interstate Bank, a proud sponsor of Saints Athletics. Also KXLH, the leader in local news, weather, and sports. Tune in to KXLH Channel 9 for everything you need to know in the Helena community. Placer Motors. Kelly Blue Book named Subaru the most trusted brand, lowest cost to own, and best resale value for 2019. Get your new Subaru at Placer Motors a proud sponsor of Carroll College Athletics. As we're back from the timeout, Abby Farmer, who just drilled the three, will take the ball up the court for LC State. Souvenir near side with it. Entry pass off the glass, and it's good. Kiara Burlett, she's continuing her big second half as she's now into double figures with 13 points. Gunter hands it off to Goldhahn. Now with it in the corner, and a foul called on LC State as looked like Gunter tried to get position inside, and she was fouled by Burlage.
You know, you're talking about girls that have improved. I think you could talk about Burlage all day long in that category. Yeah,
I didn't think she could get much better from last year.
From
She
where
was already
she's come,
so good.
yeah.
But wow. Here she is, dominating it once again. And a foul called once again off the inbound. So more fouls in the last 2 seconds than there have been than there were in the first quarter of action today.
Oh, in LC.
Yeah, how about that?
The first half.
Yeah.
First half of action.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Here's the inbound pass. They go inside. Hovde kicks it out. Three-pointer up, and that's no good. Pulled back down. Offensive rebound by the Skylights, and Goldhahn will draw the foul. And, oh, correction. It looks like they'll get Goldhahn for the foul as she was going for the rebound. But I think the biggest adjustment we've seen up to this point, first half of the third quarter for LC State, is they really put a point of emphasis on guarding Alex Goldhahn. She has not had an open look from outside.
Yep. Well, they're playing man-to-man now, and they're able to, keep a body on her and check her.
Peyton Souvenir leading the point guard for the Warriors.
Peyton is interesting to me. A Souvenir, when she was a freshman, she was taking 10, 15 shots a game, from deep range, and that isn't her game anymore. She's the point guard, the leader. Very, very solid, but she isn't looking for her shot like she was when she was a freshman.
Edmiston with the two on the other end, and here's a three up for the Skylights. It's rebounded by Burlage. And here's Souvenir again leading the break. She drives, kicks, Farmer for three. That one's off the rim and no good. And a foul called. Looks like Souvenir will get called for that one after the rebound from Hovde. 54-42, LC State. Wow. I mean, to go into the half, up 4, and immediately allow Northern to tie it, then come out and go on a 12-0 run.
Yeah.
That's impressive by the Warriors. Running point guard. It's Tia Lawrence, the freshman we mentioned out of Harlem, Montana. Will be tipped pass, last touch by the Warriors. Northern will keep it here and inbound from the baseline.
One thing I see, Daniel, with Northern, Chris Mowat is his sets plays are as good as anybody's, anywhere. And they're not as sharp today, and I think that's lack of practice. I do. I know they've had some shutdown situations up there at Northern, and I just wonder how many effective practices he's had, because they run set plays as well as anybody, and I'm watching him run them, and they're just not the crisp set play normally that I see out of Northern.
Kickball violation as Skylights will inbound again from the baseline. Lawrence gets it over the top. They kind of go for that same look, looking for the wing three. Pump fake this time, though, and a jumper up and no good for Morgan Mason. Farmer with the rebound. She pushes in transition, passes off. Here's a drive from Edmiston. Edmiston's pass is tipped around and loose as it'll be a tie-up. It looks like jump ball, possession arrow favoring the Skylights. So that's a break that maybe MSU Northern needed.
Yep, right there.
54-42 on the scoreboard, 3:51 left.
Northern just is not getting those quality shots that they were getting the first half.
No. The open threes are not there.
Yeah.
Lawrence setting up the offense. There's the right side. She kicks to the corner. Little jab step here from Mason. Mason inside. Mooney up with it this time. Off the glass. No good, but Mooney gets her own rebound, then loses control. It's brought down by Edmiston. Edmiston outlet pass. It's Farmer on the other end. Now Souvenir. Souvenir back to Farmer. Inside they go. Post up, little baby hook. No good from Heidi Selman. They go back inside to Selman after the offensive board. This time, Selman draws a foul and will go to the line to shoot too.
There's a real good example of what I was talking about, Souvenir, where I promise you, as a freshman, even a sophomore, she would have taken that jump shot right there. But that's not her role with this team now. You know, she'll shot fake it and make that one more pass, keep moving that ball, keep getting her teammates involved. And, you know, she's kind of the key. She's kind of the glue that holds that team together right now.
As Selman steps to the line, a reminder, Carroll Athletics are brought to you by Opportunity Bank. Opportunity Bank of Montana is your built for the Montana way of life with everything from agricultural and equipment loans to small business and personal banking. Opportunity Bank, your local bank, your opportunity. Also, Montana Radio Company. Tune into Rewind 94.9 for all your Fighting Saints action, as both free throws are good for Selman. And this game these games, I should say, not on the radio today, but come conference play next weekend down in Butte. Carroll, all Carroll games, conference play going forward, will be carried on Rewind 94.9 and online at kcap.com. MSU Northern takes it up. The Skylights get it inside. Turnaround up and no good that time by Riley Kerr. Rebounded by Souvenir. She pushes in transition for the Warriors. Souvenir out. Selman for three. And that's an air ball, no good, out of bounds, and it'll touch out, go right back to the Skylights. 56-42, LC State in the lead here in a third quarter that's probably took about as long as the whole first half did.
Well, Northern just is not getting those shots. You know, they're just contested and turning it over. And
some adjustments to be made by the Skylights before the fourth quarter, as they now trail by 14. And that's a miss by Hope's blocked. And we got Sarah Muehlhausen, a sophomore. We saw a little bit of minutes from her for LC last season, but not a whole lot.
And she's listed at 6'3".
Very long.
Yeah.
Edmiston in the near side. 2 minutes left now in the third quarter. Here's Selman. Selman's shot's no good. Rebounded by the Skylights. They'll get it to Lawrence, and Lawrence will push it in transition. Lawrence up the court. We'll slow it down. 1:45 left on the game clock, 18 seconds on the shot clock. Posting up with it is Riley Kerr. Kicks it out to Peyton Kerr. Peyton inside. It's Hovde, pump fakes up with it off the glass and good. That's Northern's first bucket in about 7.5 minutes of game time here. Edmiston, far side. Gets it up to the top of the key and passes it over to Farmer. Farmer with it now. Passes over to Souvenir for three, and that one is good. And there's that three-point shot from Souvenir.
She can shoot them. Yeah, that isn't her role on the team so far this year, but she can shoot them.
She'll trick you into thinking she's not going to shoot it, and then you give her that open look, and boom, there it is. Lawrence over to Kerr. Now Mason with the drive. Mason's shot is blocked again. It's Sarah Muehlhausen, the sophomore out of Hayden, Idaho. Cross-court pass for the Warriors. Farmer inside. And Selman will go up and draw the foul. That'll send Selman to the line for two. And before she shoots, just a reminder, Carroll Athletics, proudly sponsored by the Helena Independent Record, your local source for news and information since 1867. The IR also has all of Fighting Saints news and notes. Subscribe for a local delivery or check out helenair.com and the new 406mtsports.com for the latest Carroll College sports updates, as well as the local college and high school sports around Big Sky country.
Daniel, LC State is, we talked about their depth, but this is a deep, talented basketball team. They've got their pretty much their second team in right now, and they're pulling away from Northern.
Selman makes them both, and I mean, I couldn't agree more. You look at the players who are on the court right now, Farmer and Edmiston, but the other three bench players for this team. Selman, very impressive. Muehlhausen, very impressive so far for LC. And, of course, we saw Rachel Schroeder light it up with a couple of long jumpers in the first half. 10 seconds left for LC State here in the third quarter. They'll play for the last shot. Farmer slows down the offense. Selman with it on the elbow. She takes a dribble, goes up with it, can't get the go, and the full court attempt will get put on hold as that ends the third quarter, 61-44. Wow, a 19-6 score differential in the third quarter. LC State favoring Northern, an impressive second half showing so far. We're going to take a quick breather here and come back about a minute, and we'll have the fourth quarter action for you from the PE Centers. LC State leads MSU Northern 61-44. Back for the fourth quarter from the PE Center. Daniel Sally joined by Coach Gary Turcotte for game one of a little double header here. Thanksgiving weekend tournament style. 61-44. LC State in the lead, outscoring the Skylights 19-6 in the first half. In the third quarter, excuse me. Very impressive showing from the Warriors. It's a quick foul on the Skylights coming out of the inbound. 61-44 is your score, however. Over the head pass there from LC State to take it in from the baseline. Farmer, entry pass, Burlich. Burlich goes up with it. It's no good. Rebounded by Northern, and they'll push the other way. Gunter loses it, gets it back. She'll take it up the floor now for the Skylights. Gunter, three from the top of the key, knocks it down. Nice shot there.
And real nice execution of that set there. That's the kind of execution Coach Moat's looking for.
Down to the other end, it's Farmer. Farmer to the far side. Back over to Farmer now. Inside they go. Johnson goes for a spin move, and the ball gets knocked out by Hovde, and it's picked up by Gunter. Gunter will call a timeout. Very heads-up play there by the Skylights to get the ball back as they cut the deficit back to 14. Timeout called. We'll just go ahead and stay on right now. And just a reminder to thank some of Carroll's corporate sponsors, including Lithia. With a large inventory of trucks, SUVs, and more, Lithia, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge of Helena, and Chevrolet Buick GMC of Helena, the Lithia store to get the most out of Montana. Proud sponsor of Saints Athletics and the Punt Away to Mexico contest at Fighting Saints football games. I imagine that'll be something if we can have fans in the spring. Until then, we'll wait and see.
I think there's a chance that we will. I'm beginning to think, with the new vaccinations that are coming out, that we might have some football, some spring football.
I hope you're right.
Yes.
And end of February, that's planned to start. And Nelson Stadium's going to be awfully cold. But luckily for us, we'll be up in the box. Broadcasting those games, of course, on 94.9 FM, Rewind 94.9, home of Saints Athletics. Out of the timeout, Hovde passes it off to Gunter. To the near side they go with it. It's stolen. Nice play by Farmer. She'll go to take it coast to coast. And a little shimmy and off the glass, and good for two for the Warriors. Gunter to the other end. 8.5 minutes left in the ball game. She'll pull it for three. Ooh. And that one's good. Nice shot there by Mackenzie Gunter, her second three of this fourth quarter.
Well, she hit her first one. Now she's got her head up. She's going to be looking for it now.
To the other end, it's Farmer. They move it around. Burlage now. Burlage back in the game. Got a lot of rest in the third quarter. She kicks it out. Here's a drive shot up off the glass and no good. That time it was Hannah Broyles. Broyles is a sophomore guard out of Moscow, Idaho by way of Treasure Valley Community College. Gunter on the drive. Picks up her dribble. She gets it out to Peyton Kerr. Kerr will go with it this time near side. And it's no good. But Peyton Kerr will draw the foul and go to the line. Another proud sponsor of Carroll College Athletics, U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank will meet all of your needs in personal business banking as well as helping you with investing and wealth management. U.S. Bank, all of us serving you. And Harrington Pepsi. Nothing goes better with Saints basketball than an ice-cold Pepsi. Harrington Pepsi is a proud sponsor of Carroll Athletics' fine, refreshing Pepsi products at the concession stands today. And if you're at home, like all of you watching today are, well, find your Pepsi products in your fridge or go over to the local grocery store and get them there. LC State down to the other end with the court after the free throws. Farmer setting up the offense with Souvenir on the bench. Nice to have two people who can run the point comfortably for the Warriors. Burlage outside with the drive is Broyles, and her pull-up jumper's no good, but there's Burlage to put it back, and it's not good on that one as well. Rebounded by Sydney Hovde. Missed opportunity there for the Warriors is on the other end. It's a wide open look in transition for the Skylights, and putting it in is Riley Kerr for two. It's back to a 10-point game, 63-53, the Warriors lead. Little runner in transition, that time from Rachel Schroeder. And I tell you, Coach Turco, Rachel Schroeder, a very impressive scoring option off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, just another sub that comes off the bench for LC that can shoot and play and long.
Skylights with it. They trail by 12. Morgan Mason. She goes to the middle of the floor, passes it off. Here's a drive and lay-in. Good from Riley Kerr. Back-to-back buckets from Riley Kerr. 65-55. It's a 10-point game with 6.5 minutes left on the clock. Burlage up the other side. They swing it around. Inside they go. Johnson, nice impressive pass to the corner. And this time it's Schroeder on a pull-up jumper. No good. Johnson can't come down with the rebound. Ends up in the hands of the Skylights. Taking up the court, Morgan Mason. Now it's Gunter. Gunter. Top of the key. Pass it over back to Gunter. Good ball movement here by the Skies. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Now 7. Farmer with a nice play, getting the steal out on the corner. Farmer in transition. She passed it over to Burlage. Burlage, spin move up, and that one's good.
Daniel, Farmer is a good defender. She's a good on-ball defender. I think that's the third steal I've seen her get where she just takes the ball away from the girl with the ball. She gets up, plays tight, keeps her hands active, and she'll just take that ball away if you're not careful.
Impressive showing from Farmer as well as a lot of these LC players on the defensive end as it's a timeout here. We'll go ahead and just stay right here as there's 5:44 left in the contest, and I mean, a better showing so far as Northern has narrowed the gap. They're on 11-6 run to start out this fourth quarter here, but the damage done in the third quarter might be too much to overcome for the Skylights team.
I thought that LC State came out and played good aggressive man-to-man defense the first 2/3 of that quarter. And that's when they dominated it. And then right at the end, they looked like they got a little fatigued. They let up defensively. And you don't want to let up too long on Northern because they'll come back at you. And Northern did cut it to 12. And it looked like it was going to be a blowout, but I don't think it will be now.
No, absolutely. Northern doing a good job. And I think it's just a testament. I mean, these coaches are both do a very good job with their team. These teams are both very well coached. So that's kind of where we see some of that back and forth dynamic, who's making the different adjustments at what time.
Oh, it's such fun to watch. These guys have been at it for a long time. I was trying to figure out how long they've both been here. I think they've both been here like 15 years plus.
Well, I know Coach Orr is in his 20th season at
is he?
Yeah, and looks
20,
like
my goodness.
Chris Mowat. Let me take a look on this on the stat website because that's where I found it for Orr, but it looks like it doesn't have it on Northern, so we'll see if I can get to their team website after we get out of this timeout. It's Mooney inside, and she loses control, but the ball will stay with the Skylights.
Alex Goldhan in for Northern.
And I think we're going to miss LC in the Frontier as far as competition goes, but the travel, maybe not so much. And I'm sure LC's probably not going to miss traveling to Montana for all their road games.
Well, the Cascade Conference, you know, for a long time, I don't know that they wanted LC because they're just going to dominate. I think they're going to dominate that conference. They just have just a lot of resources, and you know, it's a great place to recruit kids too.
I really like their gym. It's a great place to watch a game as well. The three-pointer on that other end from
It's a
Madeline
beautiful
Weaver.
facility,
Yeah.
gorgeous facility. Yeah, but
and they let me sit right courtside when I'm there as the visiting radio. So you always got to appreciate that as well. And a turnover forced by Northern, looks like.
Daniel, it will be interesting to see how they do in that Cascade Conference as the years go by, because I think they have an awful lot of resources and a lot of reasons why they're going to be good for a long time.
They'll be playing against our friend Bill Pilgrim over at Corbin, if I'm not mistaken.
That's exactly right.
Skylights have the ball as they get it across. Three-pointer up from Kerr, and that one is no good. Rebounded by Johnson. She'll pull it down, clear her space, and get her outlet pass over to Edmiston, who will get it up to Souvenir. Now I imagine LC State will take their time setting up the offense. Here's a drive. Souvenir almost loses control. Kicks it out. You can tell tempo a little slower now for LC State. And a foul there on the near side. Tough fall there for Edmiston. Just kind of got tangled up and tripped up a little bit.
Foul on Alex Goldhan.
And I like the way Goldhan picked her up.
Yeah,
she did, you know, I do. I like that. It's just important. It says something about her.
So Chris Moat of MSU Northern in season number 16 this year. So year 20 for Coach Orr, year 16 for Chris Moat. A lot of experience on this basketball court. Mid-range jumper up, no good from Selman. Ball's tipped around, and we got a tie-up. Possession arrow favoring Northern, so it'll be Skylight basketball. 4:16 left here in the fourth quarter. Skylights with it. Up the court, it's Mackenzie Gunter, the point guard for Northern. Saw a lot of her last season and planning on seeing a lot of her this season as she takes another three. Off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Selman, and Selman is fouled. So LC State will get to inbound it and get it up the court, as that is the third team foul on MSU Northern here in this fourth quarter. 4 minutes even to play. So LC gets it up the court. With it is Edmiston. Edmiston drives. She kicks it. Selman, mid-range jumper, no good. Peyton Kerr gets it to the other end quickly. She drives, puts one up, and draws the foul. That'll send her to the line to shoot two.
Foul on Peyton Souvenir, her third, team second. Latia Lawrence in for Northern. Peyton
Kerr stepping to the line, and before she does that, another proud sponsor of Carroll Athletics, First Montana Bank. Proud to be a sponsor of Carroll College Athletics. Now open in Helena at 1135 Euclid. First Montana Bank, Montana's bank since 1913. Member FDIC. Also Delta Dental, we keep you smiling. And Ascent Bank of Helena for all of your business and personal banking needs. Thanks to First Security Bank on the corner of 11th Avenue and Lambourne, or in our new location at 2037 Last Chance Gulch next to Napa. First Security Bank, locally owned, community strong.
Well, I'm sure Northern would like to make a little run here. They're down 15, 3.5 minutes to go.
Doesn't help. Can make it interesting.
They just missed 2 free throws. That doesn't help.
And we always say when you're coming back, free throws are the most important because you're scoring points without running time off, but unable to capitalize on that opportunity. Kiera Burlage looks for Farmer outside. Farmer to Burlage. Now a three-point up from Edmiston. That one's off the rim and no good. Rebound by Mooney. And I think this is a pretty pivotal possession here for MSU Northern. Of course, from here on out with 3 minutes left and you're down 15, they all are. But you got to start somewhere as Lawrence takes it up, takes a pull-up J from mid-range, no good, but it's rebounded by Goldhan. Goldhahn only 2 points in the second half here.
and
but a
Latia.
three-pointer up from Latia Lawrence.
She is going to be so, she turned it over a little bit, so Coach Mo took her out. But just the more I look at her, the more I just see just pure raw talent.
Drive in, pull up Jay from Edmiston, and that one's good. And I think you're right on Lawrence. I think she's very impressive.
Yeah.
Three-pointer on the other end. Lawrence pulls up, and she knocks another one down. I tell you.
She's fun to watch.
I'm not sure what the word is that I'm looking for, but
yeah,
she just really draws your attention.
Yep.
As a three-pointer up and no, she's polarizing. That's what it is. She's polarizing.
She'll put people in the natatorium up in Northern.
Yeah.
She will. She's going to draw people.
And I know they like to pack it for those home games.
They do.
There. They love their basketball up on the High Line.
Harlem, Montana.
Speaking of High Line, special shouts out to Dane Warp as always out of Havre. We got a looks like a timeout, full timeout. Let's go ahead and just take a quick break, gear up for these last 2 minutes and 10 seconds of basketball here from the PE Center. LC State leads by 11. Back from the timeout, Daniel Sally here, joined by Coach Gary Turcott. 72-61, LC State in the lead over MSU Northern. Just 2 minutes, 10 seconds left. But don't go anywhere, folks. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Carroll College versus Valley City State in Game 2 of today's doubleheader. A lot of good basketball here at the PE Center to keep your eye on this weekend, which is very nice. Out of the break, it's LC State inbounding, and it's stolen by Hovde. Taking it up is Latia Lawrence. Lawrence passes it off to Gunter. Gunter, the point guard, setting up the offense. Looks like she'll drive left side, off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Burlage. Edmiston went to help her teammate up as Farmer was on the ground. But Gunter
great hustle by Gunter.
Stole that ball.
Tremendous hustle by Gunter.
Very
just tremendous,
impressive.
yes.
Up the other end go the Warriors. That's a huge bucket for Northern to get it within double digits. LC State can all but put it away here with a bucket, however. Edmiston picks up her dribble, and that's a double dribble. She put it back on the ground, so Northern has it back.
That Gunter, she can put some pressure on defensively.
Very good laterally.
She can, and she's got the heart. The heart to do it.
Hustle like none other.
Yeah.
72-63, a 9-point game. Minute 15 left. This could be a huge possession here for the Lights as Lawrence puts up a three, and she buries it.
Latia.
Don't look now, Coach Turcott. It's a 6-point ball game.
Yeah.
Huge defensive series here for the Skylights as the Warriors get it up, and they overthrow Burlage. Burlage can't save it, and now down 6 with a minute left.
Yeah.
Northern will have the ball.
Well, 3 threes by Latia and a steal by Gunter and a putback, and that's that's a 11-point run.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And Latia Lawrence now with 14 points.
I was going to say, with Coach Moat put her back in with like 2 minutes and it was like 2 minutes 40 seconds left
Instant
to go.
offense.
They were down, like
14.
13, 14 points. And I thought, I wonder if Latia could make a spark here. And that's probably what Coach Mo was thinking.
Instant offense.
She
it's
is.
literally the definition.
Yeah.
She's sort of Northern's version of Lou Williams of the LA Clippers.
Yeah.
Come off the bench and just knock them down.
Yeah.
Instant offense, strictly buckets. Very impressive. Well, if you're Coach Mowat, I mean, I assume you're drawing something up for Latia here out of the timeout.
Well, you probably are. Yeah, that's probably what a good idea right there. And of course, yeah, they got the ball. They've got to go the length of the floor. They're down 6. There's a minute to go in the ball game, and anything can happen. And at the other end, Coach Brian Orr, he's thinking, okay, let's get a stop and let's come down and run some time off the clock. Let's don't be anxious to throw the ball away or shoot it up quickly.
Yeah, a couple quick turnovers down on LC's end, which have not done them any favors. And looking at that play that happened right in front of us with Edmiston, Farmer got knocked to the ground. Edmiston went to help her up, but she forgot she had the ball, and Gunter flew in and took it out and took it right to the hoop for 2. That was a huge play for momentum.
Just great hustle.
Well, out of the timeout, 58 seconds on the clock. Gunter will take it up. Now Peyton Kerr with it. Kerr takes her dribble. Looking for a pass. They go over the top. Hovde, open look. She misses, gets her own rebound, puts it up off the glass. No good. Out of bounds. That'll be last touch by LC. 20-second shot clock. But when you're low on time, that look's got to go in.
Big miss.
Got to go in.
Yeah. The first one was tough, but she had a pretty good look at the second one.
Inbounding is Gunter. Over the top, it's tipped by Abby Johnson and stolen by Peyton Souvenir. Souvenir will get it across the timeline, and she'll be fouled. And if she can step to the line and knock these 2 free throws down, that'll just about do it here from the PE Center. But
nice little run by Northern. Nice little run.
Push.
Yeah.
Making the push. Oh, correction. That was team foul number 4.
Yes,
so they have one more before going into the bonus for LC State. I was one off that time. We'll inbound it to Burlage. Burlage will get fouled by Gunter.
This will be the first time in the ball game, Daniel, that either team has been in the bonus. That's how few fouls have been called in this ball game.
Alas, with 35.8 seconds on the clock, we finally got to the bonus.
Yeah, it's just interestingly how the game's been played.
And what a change of pace for LC. They're used to coming up and playing these high-stakes games here in Helena. They missed the first free throw with Burlage, but it's usually a packed crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It's them versus Carroll. They're both always ranked. And now all of a sudden they're playing a neutral site game with no fans.
It's a different atmosphere, but it's basketball. It's 5-on-5, and it's a game, and you got a scoreboard. You got referees. You're in your game uniforms.
Just like we're playing pickup.
And it's fun. It is fun. You bet. It's so fun for them.
Taking it up, it's Latia Lawrence. She'll pull up from 3. That's off the rim, no good. And now no more time on the shot clock as there's 27.7 on the game clock. Abby Johnson is fouled. She'll step to the line to shoot, and that is what will probably put an end to this game. Hey, we got 4 games this weekend, and game 1 of 4 definitely didn't disappoint.
No, it was good.
Luckily for us, we're used to doing double headers with the Carroll women and the Carroll men, but now it's all women's basketball, just with different teams. It's a little change of pace, but it's nice.
Well, it takes an awful lot of organization and work by a lot of people to get these girls on a basketball floor. The trainers, the work that is required of them now with the testing, the contract tracing. I think probably everybody is like Rochelle Sayers. She's probably spending 2/3 to 3/4 of her time on those types of things
instead of X's and O's.
Instead of basketball, and I think that's true for both of these other coaches here that are coaching today. It's and that's why it's so important that we are allowed to let these girls play some games.
2 points.
Both free throws good for Abby Johnson, and I think you said it very well. But special tip of the cap to all these coaches, Coach Sayers, Charlie Gross, the administration here, and Chris Ward, the head trainer, and her staff. I mean, very impressive job by everyone involved that were here playing these basketball games today. 10 seconds left on the clock, 75-66. Souvenir will dribble out the clock, and that'll do it for game 1 here from the PE Center. Like I mentioned, game 2 coming up shortly at about 4 o'clock. Coach Turcotte and I are going to take a quick little break here. We're going to come back in a couple minutes to go over the stats from game 1, and then we'll look ahead at game 2 briefly. Then we'll be back for the tip-off of game 2 after that. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Daniel Sally back here with Coach Gary Turcotte, 75-65. Final score of game 1 here from the PE Center is LC State gets the win over Northern. Of course, LC State will take on Carroll tomorrow, and Northern will take on Valley City State tomorrow because, of course, Carroll and Northern, no need to play. They'll see each other multiple times throughout conference season. But as we look at the stats here real quick, 9-point win by the Warriors. Leading all scorers, Jansen Edmiston with 17, 15 points from Abby Farmer, 16 from Burlage, 12 from Abby Johnson. That's four Warriors in double figures. And triage of players from MSU Northern tied with 14 points for their lead. That's Latia Lawrence, Alex Goldhahn, and Mackenzie Gunter. Coach Turcotte, anything jump out at this off the stat sheet before we close out here?
Well, I think for Northern, Alex Goldhahn needed to stay hot. She was hot the first half, and she had the 4 threes. The second half, she didn't get as good a looks, but she did get some. I think if she could have stayed hot, that they might have been able to keep contact and maybe make a run right at the end. They were just a little too far behind when they did make their run. Looking at Northern stat line, this is not a typical Chris Mowat coach team to take 29 threes and to only shoot 5 free throws. Now normally, it would be like 13 threes and 20 free throws. That's a little bit more what Northern's normally like, but some of that was due to the size and length of the zone that LC plays, where you are going to take more threes than you normally would. But impressive showing by LC State, no question that they're probably going to be the class of that conference. I know they were picked number 1. They're long, they're deep, they have good guards, really good guards, and they're experienced. They know what they're doing out there, and they'll probably, they'll be a team to be reckoned with, probably at the national level.
I'm hoping we'll be able to have a national tournament to cover this year. So hopefully we can get a good old-fashioned Carroll versus LC ball game, maybe in Billings at the national tournament. We'll see. A lot to be determined on that front. But what we do know for now is that Carroll's getting ready to take on a Valley City State team. 75-66, your final score of the first game. And we're going to go ahead and step aside. We'll come back around tip-off for the Carroll game, give you a brief pregame, and go over the starters and get right into it. But thanks to everyone for tuning in on the Carroll Athletics YouTube channel. Daniel Sally and Gary Turcotte signing off. We'll be back in a few minutes for Game 2 of today's doubleheader.